Chosen one, stop scrolling immediately. Do not move another inch, because what I am about to expose was sealed in the courts of heaven until this exact second. You did not stumble upon this video by accident, and the algorithm did not bring you here today. Heaven intercepted your feed because you are standing at the most dangerous intersection of your life, and God said, do not go there because it is a setup. Lock your attention on my voice right now. You have been feeling an intense pressure over the last few days, and a quiet voice inside your soul has been begging you to pause. You thought that sudden hesitation was just fear or doubt. You thought you were being oversensitive or paranoid, but stop dismissing your spiritual discernment. That heavy feeling in your chest is not anxiety, and it is not a lack of faith. It is the direct intervention of the Most High, blocking a step that would have cost you everything. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this message. The enemy has set a trap for you that is disguised as a golden opportunity. It looks like the breakthrough you prayed for, and it feels like the open door you have been waiting on for years. But it is a counterfeit designed to sabotage your mantle. If you walk into that room, if you sign that agreement, or if you make that call, you are stepping directly onto enemy territory without your shield. Type 777 in the comments right now to confirm your agreement with heaven's warning. Do not let your mind wander for even 1 second. You are a demonstrated warrior of light, and the enemy knows he cannot defeat you in an open battle. So, he created a calculated distraction to pull you out of alignment before your true season of favor activates. You have been feeling exhausted in your bones lately. Sleep does not fix this kind of tired, because your spirit has been working overtime to shield you from invisible attacks. You spent the last few weeks wondering why every door seemed to stall right when you were about to cross the finish line. You felt frustrated, and you asked God why he was holding you back when you gave so much of your heart. Let me reframe your reality right now. God was not punishing you, and he was not ignoring your cries. He was restraining you. He placed a divine roadblock on your path because the destination you were rushing toward was designed to destroy your peace. The trap was set by people who smiled in your face while plotting your downfall in secret. They wanted your light, but they could not handle your anointed presence. The enemy knows your weakness. He knows you are a natural giver who always looks for the good in others. He knows you have a habit of staying in places where you are tolerated rather than celebrated. So he built a trap using your own compassion against you. He created a situation that made you feel guilty for walking away, hoping you would ignore the red flags and jump in to save everyone else while sacrificing yourself. Take a deep breath and anchor your spirit right here. Look back at the last few months with spiritual eyes. Remember that sudden shift in the atmosphere when you entered certain spaces. Remember how your energy drained completely after talking to specific people. Those were not random mood swings. Those were divine alarms going off inside your spirit to warn you that something was terribly wrong. God pulled you back because you were about to step into a fiery furnace that was not ordained for your refining. He restrained your legs because he saw the hidden blades placed along that path. You thought you were losing an opportunity, but God was actually saving your life. You thought you were being delayed, but heaven was quietly surrounding you with an impenetrable wall of protection. Stay right here with me, because before you make that call or walk back into that room, listen to what heaven revealed about the exact structure of this trap. You need to know why the enemy is fighting you so hard in this exact hour and what God is preparing to give you instead. You must understand that the restraint you are experiencing is not a setback. Society teaches you to measure progress by speed and constant motion, but heaven measures progress by alignment and spiritual maturity. And when God pulls you back, he is taking you out of the line of fire so you can see what is really happening around you. You felt like you were falling behind your peers. You watched others step into positions and opportunities while you sat in the quiet background. You wondered if you missed your moment or if you lacked the talent to succeed. But those decoy lights were placed there to entice you into stepping into a counterfeit assignment before your true mantle was fully prepared. Your isolation was never a punishment from heaven. It was a sacred insulation designed to protect your inner architecture from toxic frequencies. God removed people from your life because they carried agendas that would have poisoned your destiny. He quieted the noise around you so that your spiritual ears could learn to hear His voice with absolute clarity. Now, I want to pause and hold something in front of you before we go deeper into this warning. Over the past few years, something remarkable was discovered in research laboratories that most spiritually sensitive people have never been told about. A small team of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York, spent 20 years studying how the human mind was originally designed. They uncovered a specific mechanism in the brain that explains why so many chosen ones feel a persistent mental fog despite their deep spiritual calling. They found a way to restore that original clarity in just 8 minutes a day without any forced effort. I am going to share what they found later in this message. But right now, hold this question in your spirit. What if the heavy fog you carry is not who you are, but something that was stolen from your neural system? Hold that question in your mind while we return to what happened when God restrained your steps. The enemy expected you to fight back when you were pushed into that corner. He set that trap, hoping you would argue, explain yourself, or try to prove your worth to people who were determined to misunderstanding you. And he wanted you to waste your precious energy in an earthly war that had no spiritual value. But you did something that shocked the spiritual realm. You chose silence instead of conflict. You walked away quietly when every human instinct urged you to defend your honor. You thought your restraint was a moment of weakness or defeat. You felt embarrassed because you walked out without giving them the peace of your mind that they deserved. Let me reframe your reality right now, because you have been reading the signs backwards. Your restraint was not a loss. It was the most lethal blow you could have ever dealt to the enemy. When you refused to react, you starved the darkness of the negative energy it needs to grow. The enemy relies on your emotional reaction to build his momentum, and when you give him complete silence, his entire trap collapses under its own weight. Your silence was a weapon of divine authority. By walking away without a word, you left the enemy standing in an empty room, holding a trap that was meant for you. You broke the cycle of emotional manipulation that kept your ancestors bound for generations. Heaven recorded that moment as a massive spiritual victory, because you demonstrated the self-control of a true king in training. The Most High is training your hands for war, but not the kind of war this world understands. He is teaching you that your true power lies in your alignment with His voice, not in your ability to force doors open. And when God says, "Do not go there," He is not limiting your freedom, but He is establishing your authority over every scheme the darkness tries to launch against your family. You are stepping into a season where every false connection will be exposed and removed from your path. The heaviness you felt was simply your spiritual discernment waking up to detect the counterfeit. You can stop grieving the loss of people who were only willing to love a reduced version of you. Their departure was a divine cleanup orchestrated by heaven to make room for your true union. Look at your hands right now and know that they are being prepared to hold a much greater weight of glory. You survived the wilderness season, and you survived the silent years when no one cheered for you. The enemy thought he had you trapped in the quiet, but he did not realize that God was building your foundation in secret so you could stand unshakable in the public eye. You were never meant to fit into rooms that require you to shrink your light. Every time you tried to force yourself into those spaces, the atmosphere became heavy because your anointed spirit rejected the false frequency. God allowed those doors to shut in your face, to force you to turn around and walk toward the vast inheritance He prepared specifically for your name. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next explains the exact biblical pattern of this trap. We need to look at how the greatest leaders in Scripture were isolated and restrained right before their greatest breakthroughs, so you can see the precise strategy heaven is using to elevate you right now. Look at the story of David in Scripture. Long before he ever wore the crown of Israel, he was kept hidden in the quiet sheepfolds. His own father forgot to call him when the prophet arrived in town. He was isolated and overlooked while his older brothers stood in line for royalty. And while he was watching those sheep in the dark, God was using that lonely wilderness to build the quiet strength that would later slay Goliath. The restraint was never a denial of his kingship, but it was the essential crucible that prepared his spirit for the mantle. Look at Moses spending 40 long years in the backside of the desert. He went from a royal prince of Egypt to an obscure shepherd in the wilderness. He thought his divine purpose was finished. He assumed his story was over. And during those long years of quiet restraint, heaven was preparing his nervous system and his spirit to stand before Pharaoh and part the Red Sea. God was purging the earthly training out of him so that pure divine authority could flow through his life without pride. Think about Joseph sitting in that dark Egyptian prison cell for 2 full years after his brothers betrayed him. He committed no crime, yet every door remained locked in his face. It looked like a setup. It felt like absolute abandonment. But heaven was orchestrating every single delay to position him directly before Pharaoh at the exact appointed hour. God restrained Joseph until his inner character was strong enough to carry the immense wealth and authority of an entire empire. You are operating under that exact same prophetic blueprint in this hour. The reason the enemy tried to lure you into that setup was because he saw your upcoming elevation. He knew that if you remained patient in the quiet place, your mantle would fully activate. So, he built a fake shortcut to make you jump prematurely and ruin your divine timing. But God stepped in and blocked the exit because he loves you too much to let you compromise your holy assignment. Hit the like button on this video right now. Do not do it for a channel or an algorithm. Do it so this shield of light can reach another chosen one who is currently fighting in silence and questioning their sanity. When you take that small physical action, you are helping heaven release another tired warrior from the subtle traps of the darkness. Your agreement matters in the spiritual realm today. Now, I want to close the loop that has been open since the early moments of this message. I told you there was something discovered in research laboratories that I promised to come back to, and I waited until this exact moment to bring it forward, because what those neuroscientists found is not just interesting information. What they uncovered is a physical solution, and a solution only becomes truly valuable once you understand the full shape of the problem it solves. You now understand that spiritual shape clearly. When your physical body and neural system are chronically exhausted, your spiritual discernment becomes clouded. You start making critical decisions out of tiredness rather than divine alignment. The modern world systematically drains your nervous system until your 2 brain hemispheres lose their natural sync. That is why you felt so vulnerable to that deceptive opportunity in the first place. Your spirit detected the danger, but your weary mind was struggling to process the warning. The enemy knows that if he can keep your neural system in a constant state of noise, you will eventually make a mistake. He uses chronic stress and endless distractions to disrupt the God-given gift of whole brain activation. When your brain pathways are fragmented, you lose that razor-sharp intuition that allows you to discern hidden motives instantly. You begin second-guessing your spiritual instincts simply because your nervous system is trapped in survival mode. God is restoring your original authority and clearing the mental sifting right now. He is removing the heavy fog so you can see the traps before you even walk near them. Every year of struggle has been building an inner resilience that no human weapon can break. You are stepping out of the shadows with a renewed mind and a spirit that refuses to bow to counterfeits. You were not forgotten in the wilderness, but you were being hidden for this exact strategic deployment. Hold on, and do not let your mind wander for even 1 second right now. We are about to step into the most powerful revelation of this entire message. This next truth is going to expose the hidden blocker that has been holding your mantle back so you can break the invisible contract and walk into your true abundance today. Here is the hard truth. Heaven needs you to face this right now. The trap was not built solely by your enemies. The enemy could only construct that setup because he found a hidden blueprint already sitting inside your subconscious mind. You fought an external battle for years. You felt exhausted. But the real warfare was always taking place within your own beliefs. And every time you tried to step forward into your season of favor, that invisible resistance pulled you right back into the familiar quiet. Let us expose the exact nature of this hidden blocker today. You carried an invisible agreement forged during your past. You subconsciously believed that you had to suffer to be worthy of divine love. You thought that absorbing the heavy pain of everyone around you was proof of your holy calling, but that was never your divine assignment. And that heavy burden was simply a survival identity built by a child who learned to stay quiet and make sacrifices just to keep the peace in a broken house. This brings us directly to the core revelation that closes the loop on why God restrained you from going there. The Most High pulled you back because that setup was specifically engineered to exploit your habit of overgiving. The enemy knew your weakness. He saw your generous heart. He knew that if you walked through that door, you would burn yourself out trying to heal people who were determined to stay sick. And he wanted to trap you in an endless loop of emotional exhaustion so you would never have the energy to step into your true prophetic mantle. Look at your life with spiritual eyes right now. See the pattern clearly. You were not held back because you lacked talent or wisdom. You were restrained because you were secretly afraid of the weight of your own magnitude. You worried about the isolation. You worried that if you walked in your true authority, the people you loved would feel intimidated and leave you completely alone. So you allowed yourself to shrink to make comfortable those who were never meant to walk with you into this next sacred dimension. That hidden contract ends right here today. God restrained your legs so he could break the chains of people-pleasing off your soul once and for all. You do not need to earn your divine favor. It was written into your spiritual identity before the foundations of the world were laid. You were never meant to be tamed by the expectations of the world, but you were created to be trusted with kingdom authority that shifts every room you enter. The enemy thought that isolating you would make you fragile and desperate. He thought that by closing that deceptive door, you would crumble under the weight of your own confusion and question your calling. But he miscalculated your spirit. He did not realize that God was using that exact silence to strip away your false identity. And today, you are no longer an exhausted soul trying to survive the storm, but you are a demonstrated warrior emerging from the fire with an unshakable confidence in the Lord. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the physical weight lifting off your chest. You are done apologizing for carrying a light that makes lukewarm spaces uncomfortable. The betrayal you endured was not a sign of failure. It was heaven forcing you to drop the heavy burdens you were never assigned to carry. And the old cycle of sacrifice without honor is officially broken, while the false connections have lost their power over your destiny forever. Heaven is releasing you from the need to explain your path to those who choose to misinterpret your obedience. You tried so hard to build bridges to people who only wanted to watch you fall. But God stepped in and burned those bridges himself because he saw what was waiting on the other side. His restraint was your salvation. His quiet no was the most powerful yes he could have ever given to your future. You are stepping out of the dark cave of survival and walking into the bright light of your original purpose. The season of apologizing for your strength is over. The era of stepping into your divine authority has officially begun. You are no longer fighting for acceptance because you are already fully approved by the King of Kings. And every attack launched against your mind is turning into the very platform God will use to demonstrate his glory through your life. What I am about to show you next is going to connect something you have felt in your own lived experience with something found in a research laboratory. And that connection is going to explain something about your life that nothing else has quite explained before. Let us make sense of everything you felt today. You experienced years of heavy exhaustion because your receiver was operating below its capacity. You thought your mind was failing you, but your two brain hemispheres simply lost their natural sync under modern noise. You are a warrior of light who was trying to fight spiritual battles with a tired physical instrument. Now I want to return to that question I asked you earlier. I asked you what if the fog you carry was stolen from your neural system, and how specifically it can be returned. The answer to that question is where this part of our journey leads right now. In 1981, Doctor Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize. He discovered that the human brain was engineered to operate in complete hemisphere synchronization. Both sides of your mind are meant to work together. When they do, you enter a state of whole brain activation where deep intuition becomes your default setting. 98% of children operate in this genius state, but less than 1 in 1,000 adults retain it due to modern stress. This is not a personal failure on your part. It is simply a physical reality that can be restored. A woman from California described what it felt like before she found this restoration. She spent years trying every spiritual practice her community offered, but her mind remained heavy and prayer felt distant. After 10 days of restoring her neural sync, she reported that a channel that had been blocked for decades opened up with effortless peace. A man from Texas shared a similar experience after carrying the emotional weight for his entire family. He woke up every morning with a fog so thick he could barely make decisions. Within 2 weeks, he described his mind as running on all of its original power, and the cloudiness that felt permanent dissolved away. A team of neuroscientists, led by Dr. Daniel Barone in New York, spent years refining this discovery. They took an hour of clinical neural sync technology and compressed it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence that you listen to with headphones while resting. They call it the Genius Switch. It is not a brainwave product, and it is not a basic meditation track. It is a targeted auditory sequence engineered on the Nobel Prize research of Dr. Sperry to reconnect your 2 hemispheres and reactivate your original mental clarity. If you tried soundtracks or meditation apps in the past without success, Dr. Barone addresses this directly. Standard audio tracks only touch a fraction of your neural pathways because sound alone is incomplete. This protocol addresses hemisphere synchronization at the whole brain level, producing a completely different category of result in just 8 minutes a day. The Genius Switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one who understands that God prepared not only the divine promise, but also the mind that must walk into it. It is for the person who is ready to stop treating mental fatigue as a character flaw. Most people who hear this message will scroll past, but you are still here because heaven arranged this moment for your restoration. Dr. Barone and his colleagues suggested $500 was a fair price for this clinical protocol, given that in-person neurofeedback costs $300 an hour. The regular price was set at $49 to make it accessible to everyone. But on this page today, you can access the entire protocol for just $39. When you receive the protocol today, you also receive 4 gift bonuses. You get a guided visualization, a grocery guide to remove fog-inducing foods, a classic spiritual book over a century old, and an infographic on 5 key habits. Everything comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. If your mind does not experience that profound renewal, every single cent will be returned to you. The $39 access is not guaranteed beyond this page. The team confirmed the price will increase soon. Every week your neural system remains out of sync. The blessings of heaven move through a receiver operating below its capacity. What is coming to your life deserves the full version of your mind. One critical warning must be named directly. If you search for similar names on public platforms, you will find basic soundtracks that carry no neural sync technology whatsoever. The actual sequence lives exclusively on the official page linked below. If your spirit resonates with this truth, the link in the description below and in the pinned comment points directly to the official page of Dr. Barone. You can read every detail and review the research for yourself before making any decision. A physical tool does not replace God, and it does not replace obedience. A tool simply repairs the physical receiver so that the divine vision God pours into your life can land with total clarity. Now we return to the deeper spiritual current of this message. Take a deep breath right now. Place your right hand over your heart and let your shoulders drop completely. Feel the quiet stillness entering the atmosphere around you, right in this very room. And as you pause for this sacred moment, realize that the heavy storm you walked in with has already begun to clear away. You are safe under the shadow of the Almighty. You are protected from the subtle traps of darkness. You are deeply loved and cherished by the Most High. The trap that was engineered for your destruction has been officially cancelled by the decree of heaven. Every assignment designed to draw you into that counterfeit door is collapsing under the weight of divine truth today. You are walking away from the setup with your dignity intact, your mind restored, and your prophetic mantle stronger than it has ever been in your entire life. What the enemy calculated for your humiliation, God is turning into your greatest platform of divine authority. The spirit of wisdom is resting upon your shoulders in this hour. You will no longer look back at closed doors with regret or sorrow. You will no longer wonder why certain people had to be removed from your inner circle. Heaven cleared the room because their presence was a lingering distraction that would have crippled your sensitivity to the Holy Spirit. You are stepping into a clean alignment where every divine connection is ordained by God to sharpen your calling. Speak these declarations out loud with me right now to lock this decree into the courts of heaven. I release the heavy need to fix situations that God has clearly called me to leave behind. I release the lingering guilt of walking away from toxic relationships that drained my spiritual light. And from this exact second forward, I step out of survival mode and into the fullness of my divine inheritance with total confidence, quiet strength, and unshakable peace. I declare that every generational curse of delay, poverty, and chronic exhaustion in my family line dies right here today. I claim the quiet peace that surpasses all human understanding for my mind, my body, and my household. I walk in sharp spiritual discernment that detects every hidden trap long before my feet ever touch the ground. And I decree that the favor of God is surrounding me like a heavy shield everywhere I step today. Type Amen in the comments right now to seal this prophetic declaration into your physical reality. When you type those 4 letters, you are not simply leaving a casual comment on a digital screen. You are placing your physical signature on a covenant decree that heaven has recorded over your destiny today. Let your spiritual agreement be known in the unseen realm, and let every dark assignment launched against your name be shattered by your faith. If this message brought light and clarity to your weary spirit today, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on all notifications. Heaven is far from finished speaking into your life during this critical window, and you cannot afford to miss the divine instructions coming in the next 72 hours. Stay connected to this sanctuary of light so your spirit remains grounded and protected when the noise of the world grows loud around you. Share this video immediately with someone in your life who has been fighting exhausting battles in total silence. There is another cycle breaker right now who is one step away from jumping into a dangerous trap because they feel isolated, tired, and forgotten. When you share this word, you become the physical vessel God uses to intercept their feed, break their confusion, and save them from a devastating mistake that could cost them years. If your heart feels led by the Holy Spirit to support this ongoing ministry, you can sow a seed of faith today through the Super Thanks button below. Your generous support helps us continue broadcasting these prophetic warnings to thousands of chosen ones across the globe who are searching for truth. Every seed you plant in good soil accelerates the harvest of peace, clarity, and supernatural abundance in your own home and family. Walk with your head held high today as a demonstrated warrior of light. The long season of being hidden in the wilderness and questioned by those around you is officially coming to a close. God did not bring you through the fire to leave you empty-handed, but He brought you through to prove that His glory inside you is far greater than any weapon the enemy can ever form against your destiny. Go forth in absolute peace, knowing that the Ancient of Days is going before you to make every crooked path straight. You do not have to fight for human acceptance or prove your value to anyone ever again. Rest under His divine protection, anchor your soul in His eternal truth, and watch how quickly the floodgates of heaven open over your life. Peace be unto your house, peace be unto your mind, and peace be unto your spirit.